Well, hello guys, and welcome to the EU Book Club stream. Oh, now you come in. Let's start the stream. Right, yeah.
Jesus.
Basically, I'm on my break, so I'm being unprofessional. Anyway, yeah, this is the EU Book Club stream. We're happy to talk about Darth Bane Path of Destruction, which I listened to while I was traveling a bit as well, so that's good. And we have here, of course, as you can see, our normal board members, I'll call them. Ryan Kinnell, aka Outpost, Holocron Keeper Evan, and Lethal Lightning.
Hey, all.
Hello.
Greetings.
Good to be here, Callum. I'm glad you're still on vacation, kind of, but I'm glad you were able to host and get this together. I know it may be a little earlier for you. You're in Australia, of course. And I hope you're doing okay, and none of your family's worried about all the fires and all that stuff that's going on there. But I'm glad we were able to work it out.
Pretty horrible, but I'm in the spot now where it's not as bad, and then I'm going to be flying back to where I normally live later on, which is down near the fires more. Yay! But yeah, definitely not good for anything. And yeah, there's a path of destruction going through Australia.
Ooh, nice. Ooh. Relevant.
That was relevant.
All right. So I need to make sure I get things done. And my audio and video quality won't be as good because it's my laptop with no attachments.
Sounds
so
alright.
There we go. So anyway, we can see where you guys want to start as far as this goes, and I'll shoot links for the guests coming on at the moment. And of course, you guys, if you want a link to be able to come and talk about it, you can PM me or DM me on whichever social media you want.
So first off, I really enjoyed this book. Just putting that out there. So, I don't know.
Audiobook.
I listened to the audiobook too and read along. So, jeez, what do you think, guys, of the book?
I loved it. It's been, I don't reckon I've touched this book since I was in high school, to be honest. And I was talking with Mara J. She was in the chat. I was DMing her about it, and I was talking to her. I was like, there is so much about this book I can't remember. Like when we were doing Thrawn, I had like a pretty basic outline of what was going to happen, and it was all coming back to me. But with this, like there was stuff that I just did not remember. I remembered the card game very specifically, and that was awesome. I still think that's one of the best parts of the book, but I think this is one of the better of the best books, to be honest. I think it's a fantastic start to the trilogy. It adds a whole lot to the universe in terms of like lore and just cool facts. And I think we can all agree that Darth Bane is an absolute monster.
He's a unit.
Yeah, definitely.
Of a monster.
Yes.
Go
ahead, Evan.
Ryan. No, you go on, Ryan.
Okay, so what I was going to say is this is definitely one of my favorite book series. It's different. You know, when it came out, when this book was written, Drew Karpyshyn, you know, a guy who has so much experience with the Old Republic, obviously, with his work on KOTOR. And when he wrote this book, I don't think they realized exactly how it was going to take off, you know, so much so that they asked him very soon after that, hey, we need you to write another one like right now because of how popular it was. This book is so interesting because so many of us, although we love reading about our heroes, the Jedi and everything, a lot of us are very interested in the Sith and want to know more about them, which is one of the reasons I think KOTOR is such a great game. You get to learn so much more about the Sith and go into their academy and all that stuff. The Sith Code was created. But for Darth Bane, it's a great story because you have this guy who is Darth. He is dark side. He is evil, supposedly, but he is the protagonist, and you're rooting for him actively. So that's one of the things that does make this book stand out. And I think it's just an incredible dark journey. You get a lot explained about lightsaber combat, a lot explained about the dark side of the Force and the ways of the Sith. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely one of the great ones if you want to look into the minds of the Sith. That's great.
Yeah. I
I
think my
haven't really
favorite.
paying attention yet.
I think my
Matt,
favorite part of
welcome,
the whole thing
welcome. I
was
love having him on the phone.
when he was in the academy training. I think that whole section was probably my favorite part, to be honest. Like just the way he comes in, you know, everyone kind of hates him because he's getting a bit more attention because of the older age and all that sort of stuff, and just like how like the mentality of the students is within the academy and all that stuff. I thought was pure hot fire, like just from start to end. Like, you know, like the fight scenes. You know, he murders a dude, outright murders a dude, like force crushes his throat. And then the next fight he's in, he just gets stomped and obliterated and, you know, and disgraced. Like, it's great.
He gets so weak and broken in this book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I actually
and I love how it shows that as well, because people, like some people say, oh, Darth Bane was a Gary Steele or whatever. And then you go, but no, he actually failed and had to learn from all of the failures and everything.
I wouldn't say he failed and learned from failures, but at the same time, I think Bane, he comes really from an abusive situation. I wouldn't say that he's a Gary Steele or anything, because he's went through hell and back.
Yeah.
And at this point in his life, in the book, when he's training, he's doing this as a way to carve out a path for himself and a legacy for the Sith to see them better.
Everyone's apparently trying to call an Uber, maybe.
Hi, Matt. What's up?
He probably needs a DD if I had to guess.
No, I'm not drunk tonight. I have no alcohol in my system.
So that pretty much covers our overall thoughts. So I may as well bring one or two people on. So I think we'll have Teresa Martin joining us, and she comes on.
Well, you can bring anybody on. I wanted to say another awesome thing we had in this book was we got the Army of Light.
We did.
Yeah. Very interesting.
The Army of Light is very interesting. How do I phrase this? They work outside of the Jedi Order proper, from what my understanding is.
It's not a unique tale, especially in the Old Republic, especially with Drew Karpyshyn, right? You have a group of Jedi who don't agree with what the Republic and what the Jedi are doing, so they take it upon themselves, kind of outside, to go and fight a battle that needs to be fought. You know, just like we saw in KOTOR with Revan and Malak and the other Jedi that joined them, going to fight in the Mandalorian Wars. So, you know, it's
Will. Hi, Will.
So what I was saying was it's not a unique story, but it's still one that is awesome because it's one that a lot of people can relate to, because when you look at the Jedi Order, the same complaints we have are what these people are showing. Like, why are you so passive? Like, you don't have to be necessarily using the dark side to meet aggression with aggression, kind of. You're always so passive and letting things happen. You're frustrated with it. So to see the characters that are written have that same issue, I think that's one of the things that makes it so cool.
Yes, but it also we see in the book Lord Hoth later stumbles and literally he's gone down, I wouldn't say the dark path, but he is very close to beginning down that path. Would you agree with that, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely.
That's something I don't think any Jedi could escape in that situation. I'm about to have pizza, dude. But that's something no situation Jedi can escape throughout Legends, barring Luke's Jedi Order, of course. And even then you have exceptions to the rules, like you have I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I'm not going to say, but we have some students in Luke's Jedi Academy who take things to the extreme and teeter on the edge, and I don't think that ever really escapes Star Wars. Like, I don't think it's ever not been done before, is what I'm trying to say. Is that if you go down this and don't follow the tenets, generally, it can lead to consequences.
Yeah. That's really interesting how it shows divides in the Jedi Order even back then.
Right.
Yeah. I need to fix the wrenches. But yeah. Also, there was what is Callum drinking, which I clicked on the wrong comment, but that's right. I got tea at the moment. But buy caramel koalas, folks, because that money goes to the fireys for the bushfires.
So speaking of, me and Lethal actually just got off a 3-hour stream. Here, I'll actually put my camera on for this. Me and Lethal just got done doing a 3-hour stream over on Geeks and Gamers, where we raised a crap ton of money for Australia Fire Relief. That's going to go to the Australian Red Cross. So we had a lot of people direct donating as well, so that YouTube doesn't have to get a cut of that. So we obviously have no idea what that was, but as far as just in super chats, it's going to be a really good chunk of money to at least do a very little bit of good for what is a huge tragedy right now in Australia.
It is pretty bad over there.
Has anyone got a wrench? Only Evan has a wrench.
Yeah. I should probably get in that.
Okay. We should bring I'm going to bring on our first guest. And we'll bring on Teresa Martin. So hello.
Hi there, gentlemen.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey.
Lethal's gone.
Oh, we lost Lethal. I drove him to muteness. I absolutely adored this book. I've never read it before. I missed this one, and oh my gosh, it was. I almost said the F-bomb. Amazing.
Dude, wait, Callum, is this a Christian channel? Are we allowed to swear?
Hasn't stopped me before on our podcast.
But if people swear, then I'm not going to get too hung up about it.
I think I only do it, and I just try to contain myself with it. So I'll be right back. You guys talk some.
You'll be you as you are on YouTube anyway. So
yeah. Well, you know, I'm not. I try to behave myself. I try to be a good person, but it was amazing.
Yeah, I like to keep these as well for all ages, because then if younger people are looking at it, then they'll get into the books too.
There we go. We got to spread the word. Well, this one was amazing. I turned every freaking page, and the ending, I really did not know how this was going to end, because I controlled myself. I didn't go to any of the Wikipedias or anything to get spoiled, and I feel like a horrible human being because I thought it was so awesome when Bane just baned, when he went full Darth.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, when he took out all those, well, they all had it coming because they were Sith, so they're bad. So I guess you didn't feel totally bad. But when he became Darth, after when he left the Sith Academy, I was almost ready to cheer. And I'm thinking, I'm cheering this bad, horrible person. But they were all like, Lord Bane, and then he goes,
it leads you along the journey, which is great with that, because it goes along all of Bane's thoughts, and you go, well, the Sith aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. And tearing each other apart. But just the way he was able to see right through what was wrong. And he was saying it wasn't Sith or it wasn't going to work. And I even was seeing that. It was like they were trying to, with this whole brotherhood of the Jedi, of the Sith, or of darkness, or whatever the heck they call it.
That's exactly how it is, though, because he goes, well, they're basically doing the things that Jedi do.
Exactly. It was just like the Jedi. And it really wasn't much different than the Jedi. And I love the way it was juxtaposed, the leaders, with General Hoth. Was there really much of a difference between Hoth and this other guy? I mean, yeah, because Hoth was definitely going gray Jedi by the end, though he kind of got his mojo back when his little friend talked to him from the dead or something. it really just made so much sense. And the way that we discovered it along with Bane, that the Sith can only work if there are two. Because they will just all try to kill each other. And then when he's like, well, I got to kill them all, I was, got to take him out. If you're going to have the Sith work, I found myself kind of taking the Sith side. And I think that's what made the book so fun, because we all got to explore a little bit of our own dark side, because we've just learned all along the Sith are bad. They're bad. No, they're bad. But this book gave us permission to dip into it a little ourselves.
Yep. First of all, I'm back, and hello, Teresa. Oh my God, your voice is just like.
Oh,
I don't want to say the correct words, but it's just I love your voice, Teresa. I find it soothing and relaxing, and I feel like I could actually put my head down and have a comfortable night's sleep listening to you talk. But
wow, I put men to sleep. That's a
new audiobook narrator. Yeah.
You make me feel at peace.
At peace. But there is no peace. There is only passion.
Well, if you want to talk about that, but,
that's from the book.
I was going to say, I don't know if anyone touched on this one yet, but I loved Bane in like the library. You know, like
you mean Decel?
Decel, yeah, Decel, Des. You know, in the library. You know, like getting his learn on. You know, it's like this whole section of the book could be summed up as Des got busy.
Which is, yeah, I for some reason I thought a disconnect there. I don't know why, but Bane Decel doesn't strike me as someone who would go out of his way, as a minor, to just learn or pick up a book. I just feel maybe I'm just relaying that maybe too much to real world.
That does make sense. That does make sense considering he grew up in the mine and all that sort of stuff. That does make sense. But that's why I feel like when he got to the academy and he just wanted to like fully commit to what he was doing now, it was almost like a complete change of character there. He was like, right, if I want to be better, I have to learn from the people that came before me. That means this whole brute attitude that he had, it's just not going to work here. He had to quote the immortal Ice-T, he had to step his game up.
I don't think it was really about like reading books. I think it was about a quest for power, regardless of what way you could get that power. And as he quickly found out, the quickest way for him to get power and the most effective way was through knowledge.
Through knowledge, I gain strength.
Exactly. So and not just his physical strength. That was his advantage was reading those ancient texts, the sacred texts. Reading that is what really gave him the advantage.
Yeah, and I think as well that it was because he realized he was so far behind that he needed something to get up to the level of the other students. So it was, as he says later on, his first instinct was to go into the texts.
Yep.
And so it's running on instinct as well, and his passion and all that good stuff.
I'm eating thin crust pizza right now, Bionic, just so you know.
No, I think, Evan, you got a point. It does make sense. It does make sense that it doesn't make sense, coming from his upbringing, which was just pure brute. Like, that's what it was all about. But yeah, like I said, he got to the academy and he was like, no, I need to completely switch up everything, So, but I get where you're coming from, man. And you do have a very valid point.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that he's someone who, like, literally, no matter what you put him into, he's going to have a quest to be the best at it. Whether it's mining, whether, he was so dedicated to getting off that rock, to gaining power in his own way, right? Because that was the only thing he had. He was powerless. The only way he had to get power was to get off that rock. So he threw himself into mining, dedicated to get him off there. Then when that changed and he had to go in the military, he quickly threw himself completely into that, excelled to about the highest level you possibly could, about as fast as you could, ran the highly effective team of soldiers that he had. When that stopped, he went to the Sith and did the exact same thing. That is just his personality. At least that's how I kind of see it.
He's just a beast. I noticed a lot of similarities between him and DC Bane, you know, coming from their upbringings and like just I think there is actually a lot of similarities in them.
And being brute, like a big hulking brute and smart.
Exactly. What do you think, Teresa? What do you think of Bane in the library?
Oh, I thought it was very much in character with him, perhaps because he was a person who worked in the mines and all that. Sometimes you will often find that when people do not get an education or they are not given the opportunity to have an education, those are the ones that actually appreciate it more than those where it's normal, the library and all that. And so I could see how that would be one area that he would want to be going in. But I also see the point of where it's part of him just wanting to best the other people, and the other avenues weren't open to him because they were all shunning him. He saw it as an opportunity because he saw nobody else was doing it, and he knew that he could get an advantage.
Exactly. It's like when he gets his ass handed to him, his natural instinct is like, I'm physically weak, you know, I'm mentally broken, you know, like I've been destroyed, you know, so back to the library, you know, get busy again, you know.
I love that part where he's just like, man, I got to go back and get good.
That's exactly it, man. He had to get good. Being a scrub.
Yeah, and I think that every time that his teachers, his masters, would be all telling him, "Oh, you don't need to read those old books. You don't need to read those old books," had a little bit of the opposite effect, didn't it? And it's like
because he was starting to go, I'm reading these, and they tell a completely different version of the Force than you're teaching, and so I'm going to read what you don't want me to.
Exactly. Well, as they always say, if you want to make sure a kid reads a book or sees a movie you don't want them to see, you tell them not to, and then that'll be the first thing they're going to do.
It's like y'all's version of the Force is BITCH made. Like can't swear. God, I feel like a freaking teenager or something. I can't swear in front of my mother. Callum is my mom.
I think the problem stems from Khan's order is that it combines both Sith philosophy and Jedi philosophy together.
Go on. You have my attention.
Well, you have, I mean, it's definitely its own thing, but Khan was an ex-Jedi. So you have a lot of that coming into what would later become his Brotherhood. And I think setting up multiple kind of academies and quarantining sections off, even though that's a Sith way, but the problem is that they're being passive about everything, such as preventing the Darth title and trying to prevent infighting. They're just trying I love when he just calls out their hypocrisy with that. On it all.
So, Will, it's the first book in the trilogy, Path of Destruction.
Uh-huh.
I like what you're saying, Evan. You know, you got a lot of good points with that. One thing that I particularly liked was the amount of...
I'll send you a link if you want to join.
Yeah, get your booty on here, Bionic.
Bionic, get your Bionic booty on here.
Yeah, Bionic Booty. That's what BB stands for. The Bionic Booty. That's her new name. But I really liked there was a lot of battle meditation in this book, which I really like. Whenever there's battle meditation, I feel like it's working on me. I become more interested. You know, I just love the idea of battle meditation, and we see Khan do it in the space battles and all that stuff, and like how he's actually, the way the book describes it is like he's reaching out and like touching people's minds. You know, like how's that for an invasion of privacy? I'm just going to reach out and you know, like just start dry humping your brain, you know, from a distance. You know, like it's going to get in your head, man. Literally, like I love that sort of stuff.
And then when he started having, a counter battle meditation to his, and everything fell apart because there's, so he said, is that advantage. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Matt, Sorry, Matt asked a question in chat about Drew Karpyshyn writing this in record time.
That was the second book.
That's what I was just going to say. I believe that was the second book, Matt. And which is why the second book is kind of weak in my opinion. Because they asked him if he could write it in like they needed it like out in like 4 months or something crazy like that.
I think they were like as well, like, oh, the first book did so well, we want to write a sequel to it now, and then they rushed that.
It's also why the cover is just so bad on the second book.
That bottom section of the screen that shows banner.
The Chinese edition of the next book, which is Rule of Two, has covers which match the first and third books in the series, and it's so much better.
I think that could be said about a lot of the EU books. The Eastern ones seem to have like the better covers. But I was thinking like I was talking about the battle meditation. And Ryan mentioned how this book talks a lot about lightsaber combat, but it also goes into force combat, about setting up like your force shield and all that sort of stuff, and like how like they talk about reaching out and like with the force and like just shattering someone else's force shield. To me, that's probably what I love the most about this book. Yes, Bane is a badass, Rule of Two is dope, all that stuff, but just like the actual things we learn about the force and the lore and all that, like
lightsaber combat. This is probably the deepest book on lightsaber combat. To be honest.
The different forms. Now, was some of that influenced? To me, it's from the KOTOR. It reminded me a lot of that, like the thing about the force shields, and then you would push against it from his, because he wrote part of that, didn't he? Knights of the Old Republic.
He wrote KOTOR, from what memory serves. Yes, he was involved in that.
Yeah, so I felt like it had some of that video game elements that he brought into that from the game.
Well, he set up the rules, I think, as well, like because I think this from memory was pretty much when I was listening to it, at least rereading it, was thinking this pretty much brings everything from all the bits and pieces over the place and establishes these are the rules in the force combat as well, and all of that of the time. Compared to you only see bits and pieces in other books and material.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there was an error in this book. Speaking of lightsaber combat, I don't know. This was on the audiobook. Talking about Form 7, which they refer to in the audiobook, and I think in the hard covers, which is called Vapad. Now, that's an error, whereas Vapad was not developed until 1,000 years later by Mace Windu and Sora Bulk. I think they changed it in the paperback releases where it is given its proper name, which is Juyo.
Interesting. I don't know that.
It's something you don't catch unless you're listening for it or reading, like paying really close attention.
I can see how I blinked and missed that. Yeah.
And they might have changed it on updated version of the audiobook as well.
I was gonna say I don't remember hearing or reading that, and I've done both in the past month.
That's strange.
I'll try and find it. I just have to.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure. I loved the duels and the forms, and then how part of Bane's mastery was that he was able to go beyond that. He was able to improvise. He wasn't stuck in. That was very symbolic about the way of his thinking. He was also thinking outside the box in his philosophy as well as with his lightsaber combat.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, hold on. So though Windu and Bulk were credited with the creation of the Vapad variant, the seventh lightsaber form was known, albeit obscurely, by the name Vapad as early as the end of the New Sith Wars by the Sith Blade Master Kasim.
No, that's an error on Wikipedia's part because that has been corrected again in later versions of the book.
That's from Book of Sith, which was released in 2014.
Book
right?
of Sith?
So they retconned it.
Yeah, they did retcon it. I think that might have been an error in Book of Sith's part, to be honest with you. Or trying to explain away something that was fixed, and they didn't know it was already fixed. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that's an error on publishing's part.
Could have been an error to start with, but then that's incorporated it in.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Well, I know they fix it in later editions of the book, so.
Yeah, cool.
Well, what about those hot smooches? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, those hot smooches. When I was looking through it again, I didn't remember how much of a thought Githany is.
Oh my god, yeah. I didn't know this either. It's just, oh boy.
What are you stuffing your face with?
I mean, it made
There's a bit of salad. No, eat the salad first and then have the meat.
Well, the thing is, I guess it answered the question of what kind of a lover a Sith would be.
The best.
Oh yeah. We've all thought about it. Come on. We've all looked at pictures of Darth Bane.
When you play the Sith Warrior on Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh yeah, dude. I got my my sorcerer, you know, she is Aaron. Mine's called Release the Snyder Cut. Like, oh my god, I just yell her name out constantly, man. It's beautiful. But just the way Githany is introduced, like just the second she comes in, it's just what a hoe. Like she's introduced as betraying the Jedi and sleeping with Sith, you know, right in like the first like 2 pages where you meet her, you're like, how am I supposed to take her seriously? Like, I don't trust this woman. I do not trust this woman in the slightest. You know, she's supposed to be a Jedi, but you're selling them all out, getting them all killed, and you are literally, and I mean literally, in bed with Sith.
Apparently she was in bed with the Jedi when she left.
The real question is, was she screwing Khan?
Of course she was. We all know it.
She definitely was flirting with him. Yeah. Well, see, actually, I saw that as part of her her beguiling, because a Sith would use whatever dirty tactics, if you will, that they could. And since she was a hot babe, she was always trying to play on their weaknesses.
And that's something Bane recognizes later on.
I'm sorry?
I didn't. Do you think? Obviously, like she was trying to use Bane, get to Bane that way too. They never actually did the deed, or did they?
No, they just had 3 big poisoned kisses.
Right. So I wonder. Well, I guess it's kind of spoilers for the rest of the series. I just want to know if Bane was an incel, or if I want to know if Bane died a virgin. That's why he was so angry.
I doubt it. Those mines, those mines he was on, they got some.
The only thing he was focused on jackhammering was the cortosis.
No. Okay. So I haven't read the other 2 books, but I know where Zana's Sith name comes from, which is, I have to find it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a real name, isn't it? In the story.
It's her real name, but it has a meaning, like a literary meaning.
Well, I didn't mean to get us off track. That's
no, you're good.
Part of the book, but
look, I'm serious. If you we got the picture on the background.
Githany,
exactly. That's exactly it. But I mean, look at her. You're telling me? Nah, come on, man. We all know what was up.
I read Jedi vs. Sith as well, and she doesn't look as good in that.
Nobody looks good in that comic. That comic is, let's just be honest, the only person who looks good in that comic is Hoth. That's about it.
What's it?
Forget his name.
The half
Fallon Farthala.
Yeah.
Valentine Farthala sounds or looks like a girl in that. Let's be clear. Bane just looks like his skull is smashed in a different way every time he's drawn. Yeah, I don't think the art's very good in that.
Can we please highlight Bionic Booty's comment?
Yeah.
Bane was Cox. Down.
Next one.
Down. Yeah. Bane was cockswole.
Please elaborate, Bionic.
Well, I don't think it was implied he was sterile because of the mines. He just had such a pursuit of power. He didn't ever sleep with them. I guess
he wasn't. He wasn't sterile. His hair just fell out.
Yeah.
Well, I think that maybe it
You wouldn't have to shave.
Yeah, it could have been like the way we found out with Palpatine, is that they have their little concubines, and because every chick, every hot Sith dude can get a hoe.
I mean, true.
I'll just say, if you were a hot Sith, I'd be your concubine, Teresa.
All I'm going to say here is Zana's name, translated from Hebrew, is synonymous with adultery, fornication, and prostitution.
Well, that sounds about right. What about Githany? What's Githany in Jewish?
I have no.
Githany is actually Latin for slut.
No, it is not.
No, it's effing not.
It's not a Latin word.
Salute. I like how Bionix just says Bane is cockswole, and then Matt Wilkins is like, "Yeah, I have 2 girls, 8 months old."
I know, I saw that too.
Wow.
No, I'm eating. That's why my camera's off currently. I'm
doing work.
You also don't have an avatar on there though.
No, he didn't get it.
It's because I purged my browsing. Like I had to redo my reinstall Chrome, so it signed me out of everything.
Anyway,
Okay.
I think it's time we can bring Mara Jade on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can bring Mara Jade on now, and that'll be cool. So, welcome, Mara.
There's
Hi.
Mara.
Sure.
Mara.
How's it going? What did you think of the book?
I love the book, and my choice words were, from my experience, whenever we were criticizing The Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy, like people were coming back to it at us saying, well, you just don't like it because it's not centered on the Skywalkers. And I have to say, bullshit.
Yeah.
No Skywalkers at all in this book.
Yeah. I'm just glad it was centered on a Palpatine, the sequel trilogy. That's why I enjoyed it so much.
Oh, God. Who thought that would be a good idea? I mean, I don't care if Ryan didn't leave JJ much wiggle room as far as her lineage, but come on, make her a nobody. Like, you make her a Palpatine, the dark side wins. I'm not nothing against the dark side, but like, there's no point to this trilogy. There's no point to any.
You might as well have
That darkness may come back in Rey and just destroy the Jedi again.
Anyway, yeah, cool. What was your favorite moment in the book?
I think it's hard to pick out favorite moments, but two of my favorite moments are kind of early in the book, and that like one is when Bane is still on Apatros and he's playing the Sabacc game because he's trying to get the pot, and he starts baiting the Republic soldiers, like basically purposefully getting them angry because he's like feeding off of everything, and like he is able to tell when certain hands are going to come, but he doesn't know why. So
Yeah.
And I love that part, like partly because I'm a military vet, so like playing sort of devil's advocate for the ensign and everything, I can kind of see why they acted the way they did, because there is a camaraderie. What?
JOs are trash. You know that, Mara.
I know. I'm just saying, like, there's kind of a camaraderie, like, where it's like, no matter how dumbass your wingman is being, no matter how much of a dumbass your wingman is being, like, a part of you is going to like step in and like basically like way like those two other guys did it. But at the same time, I'm like, they had it coming when they tried to take on Bane when it was dark, and he could see the vibroblade in the dark, and he's like, and then he realizes like, wait a minute, it's a vibroblade. Like, how could I see that?
Yeah,
it could see things before they happen.
Yeah, that was badass.
Yeah, and then the second one was like,
what a Gary Stew. You mean by no training when his life was threatened, he used instincts? He had slightly increased slightly increased senses, and he had good reaction time. Wow, that's the same thing as performing a Jedi mind trick or using the Force to pull a lightsaber to you against a fully trained Jedi. Yeah.
Obviously the same, because obviously Gary Stu, Ray is not a Mary Stu, because everything like that.
A Mary Stu.
I said Mary Sue. You sure you're not drunk?
I heard Mary
I was
Stu.
drunk again.
Anyway.
And the second part is that this was brought up by one of you, and that was when he killed the fellow Sith student at the academy during his first not his first challenge, but the challenge with what's his name? Forga?
Yeah,
his name is.
His name doesn't matter because he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the part when he tries to use Bane's name against him, because Bane took that name primarily because that's what he was called on Apatros by, I think, by his dad and his dad's friends. You're the Bane of your family and things like that. So he took that name basically to give himself strength, and then that student tried to use it against him, and he's like, and once he did that, I'm like, you're dead. You're basically screwed.
Yeah, I actually enjoy. So obviously this is only part of it, but the way they describe Bane using the dark side, like this match, that's this little ember that's always lit within him, and he just kind of has to feed the flame and grow it, and grows it until he is bubbling up with energy, with rage, with emotion, and then he just unleashes his power. I think it's just really cool.
Yeah. White hot rage. Mm-hmm. And how dark was it that he murdered those children to feed that rage so he could survive?
Yeah, that's what it should be. That's what dark Star Wars should be, not freaking Baby Yoda garbage.
Is that supposed to be dark? That's the question.
I loved how it's like he's acquiring this knowledge. He's reading the stuff that he's being told not to read, and he uses that against the entire Brotherhood of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's makes him he's Sith, so technically they're the bad guys, so you want to root against them, but at the same time it's you root for him because of this, because he's showing he's showing that the real power is within the knowledge, and it's not just the use of the lightsaber, which is essentially what they're, I don't want to say all that they're being taught, but he's that's only part of it.
It's like if they were ignoring the supernatural part of it.
So when he travels off world and he finds the holocron from Darth Revan, and he uses what he learns there, tricks Khan and all the Sith, and basically in one go wipes out all the Sith and the Jedi
with a thought bomb.
Yes,
including Githany.
The thought bomb. I thought Githany was the thought bomb.
Yeah, she is the thought bomb.
By the way, I'm the one who came up with that joke.
You did. I loved it. It's true. I did say that. But,
and it's interesting how at the end in the comic, Githany hung on, and then when Bane revisits with Rain/Zana, she actually sort of comes out and crumbles, and then her skull's in his hand.
Yeah, go on. Be gone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think just quote unquote villains. I mean, it can be argued who actually are the overall villains, but
The Jedi.
Yeah, fucking oath. Jason Solo did nothing wrong. The villains tend to be more interesting just in general, and I think that goes across pretty much anything. But what I was going to ask Mara and Teresa, I want to know what you guys thought of, you girls can't read. What did you girls think of the Sassari?
The Sassari?
Yeah, the whole Sassari talk.
The Chosen One.
Yeah, it was basically the Sith version of the Chosen One prophecy with the Jedi. And I feel in a way, I mean, I don't know if Bane was the Sassari, but he ended up being the perfect Sith, because he realized everything that was going on wasn't the teaching of the Sith that they should be instructing. It was all about yes, acquiring power, but at the same time, it was just for for like basically getting all this infighting and things like that. And he's like, you know what? He lost faith in it all and felt like he had to go back to the beginning.
Okay, I have a follow-up question for you, Mara. If you think that he is not the Sassari, who is? Palpatine? Sidious?
I think Palpatine would be the Sassari.
Every Sith thinks that they are the Sassari.
It's like that's what like. So I don't know if I could call him that, but at the same time, it's like he did implement the rule of two, and he, I don't want to say reverted, but he basically brought all the teaching back to what it should be.
That's such an awesome argument, or like an awesome way to think about it, because in theory, with the rule of two, Bane should be the weakest of all of them. If the theory pans out and everyone does find someone who is stronger and everyone follows it the right way. So Zana, well, I guess we won't get into exactly what happens, but it's supposed to be the apprentice challenges the master when they're both at not necessarily the peak, but both kind of the height of their powers, wins and moves on, and the next generation is stronger and stronger and stronger. But like you said, he is the one that started this gangsta. He is the one who brought it all back, who realized what needed to be done. So in a way, he did bring about the downfall of the Jedi, whether he is the Sithari or not. Yeah, he basically did it.
It's actually one of my favorite arguments in Star Wars. Who is the Sithari? Bane started it, but Palps was the one that did it. You know what I mean?
Should have been Jason.
Oh, dude, Jason takes him to a whole. Jason just looks at him and he's like, "What are you doing, dude?" Jason Solo is released the Snyder cut, and the Rule of Two is released the JJ cut. Like, no, you're right.
Yeah. I would say that I saw it exactly the way Mara did. I actually thought that he was the Sithari, and it really struck me when they were talking about it. I was thinking, chosen one. That it was. He was a counterpoint or counterpart, perhaps, to Anakin. The way Anakin was kind of the Christ-like figure, that Bane was the Antichrist. I found it very, very fascinating, and just the way that all of his words and teachings were perversions of what the Jedi, the good guys, the quote-unquote people of the light, were saying. And I think that, in my opinion, he would be more the Sassari, because at the end of the day, I think Palpatine didn't really succeed, because if we forget everything that happened with him coming back to life,
we're not including that. We're not including that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that he didn't really succeed. He got defeated. If you think about it, he got defeated within 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not really. He was alive, to face Rey, so.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Wrong timeline.
I see that as fan fiction, though. That's a different argument. And I don't know if there is supposedly one particular answer, but it just really struck me about how cool I thought that really was. Is that he, as Mara said, came up with that's what made him the Sassari. It was the idea that was the Sassari, perhaps, that. Not necessarily the man.
All right. Well, before we go on, I'm going to read you the quote of what the Sith prophecy actually says about the Sassari. So, and then I feel we might be able to get a better understanding of it.
We'll ask what is the Sassari?
The man who would lay the pipe to Sith thoughts.
That's pretty much what it is.
John Boyega?
Yeah, he is. John Boyega is the Sassari. All right. The Sassari will be free of limits. The Sassari will lead the Sith and destroy them. To me, that just says it's Bane. The Sassari will raise the Sith from death and make them stronger than before. I believe it's Bane.
You want to hear who I think it is?
Is it Jason?
No.
No, not really.
Darth Millennial.
No, go on.
Darth Crate.
Darth Crate.
Darth Crate is the Sassari.
Not possible.
Yeah. Read it, and then you tell me what you think.
All right, let's go back through that. Let's go through with the Darth Crate in mind. Okay. The Sassari will be free of limits. The Sassari will lead the Sith and destroy them. the Sassari will raise the Sith from death and make them stronger than before. You have a very strong case with the last point.
Mm.
The
You say
last point, the
lead
second point, and the first point, because the second point, number one, you have the Lost Tribe along with his previous regime, which was taken over later on. And he comes back.
The Lost Tribe, I'm so interested to find out how that all connects. Because there are, when we're done, after Crucible, there's still a lot of Sith out there.
Yeah.
Evan, you just blew my mind, Evan. You just blew my mind.
It can't be Vader because, number one, the Sassari will be free of limits. Vader was very limited in what he could do, and he had emotional attachment still.
I agree. There's zero argument that it's Vader. It can't be Vader in any way.
No, I've never seen it as Vader. No.
I mean, like obviously it's Jason, but still great. Wow, I've never thought of it like that before, Evan. Thank you. That's kind of changed. I still think it's Bane. To me, it just sounds very Bane, but you have a very, it's a good argument you have.
But then also it's like you can say it's Bane or Cray. Why not both? Because when you look at a prophecy, when you're at the time, you can always be thinking, oh, that's supposed to be now, if you look at the right things. And so you're never sure if it's actually fulfilled or not. Or it could be fulfilled 2 times because they needed to have 2 Sassari's.
Always in motion, the prophecies are.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. All right, if you put a gun to my head, and you said,
Anakin of the Chosen One came about from a natural backlash in the Force when Plagueis was screwing around.
Mm-hmm.
It could be quite similar when the Jedi are in power with that.
You guys should have just devoted their lives to,
we're all wrong. We're all wrong. Gifney is the Sassari.
What? She's on time.
I want to hear the reasoning behind this. Go ahead.
Okay, well, think about it. She's a common thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
She had no limit. And she destroyed the Sith, yeah.
I mean,
I guess, yeah.
Technically, yeah, because Crown went off her word to trust Bane.
She's the chosen one.
But then anyone could be the chosen one because there's loads of thoughts around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if that's the case, then you're not the Sassari or the chosen one, Teresa.
Well, that's true. I'm not. I'm definitely not the chosen one, and I'm not a thought. So yeah, I don't know what I am. I'm me. I'm a rose.
If you're a rose, then Mara is like those really big sunflowers that you look at and you're like, wow, that is really, really nice.
Aw, you're such a flatterer.
He is.
Because he doesn't want
does it in an Australian accent.
He just doesn't want me to beat him up. That's why. And he's jealous that I'm beating him in the sexy poll that he himself posted.
Oh, that's a sexy poll. I didn't know that.
It's rigged. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
I voted for you. In my defense, I voted for you, but I.
Wait, what are you talking? What poll are you talking about?
I'll send you the link.
Yeah,
some Twitter thing.
You don't use Twitter. We don't like art.
What?
I said, what do you don't like art? It's from a movie, not a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Matt said, I'm still sticking with the Sassari as a gaming console for the Sith.
That still seems too new age for Matt. I don't know if you
Here's the come with the Super Mario Sith and Sonic the Sith horror.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
So,
Lethal's poll.
Refresh my memory, guys. Did they ever specify what color Bane's lightsaber was in the novel?
Okay. Well, I know all the purple is pure fan fiction because it just looks great. He never had a purple one.
He got a synthetic crystal from KOTOR.
Yeah.
And that would be red.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's actually, in case anyone's wondering, this is the first look at Bane we ever got, which was back in 2000.
Yeah, that was before several years before the book and before the comic was released, right? It was basically just like almost concept art in a way, right?
Right. And this appearance of Bane, you will see that in the next book. But
yeah.
From my understanding, I haven't read the Rule of Two yet, so
what?
Bane,
I haven't.
yeah, this is his first time reading it. Same
This
with
is my
Teresa.
first time too, yeah. Now, I did have a question about the Darth Revan connection, because I don't know the games.
Well, Revan is like 30, 3562 or something like that. It was
Yeah, he was 3,000 years before. And
Yeah.
I do remember from the plot that he was brainwashed by the Jedi. Was it in the game about that big thing?
Well,
Oh, sorry.
hold on. When you say brainwashed, well, first off, he was a Jedi, and he and Malik was his apprentice, even as a Jedi, and they basically went against the Jedi Order when the Mandalorian Wars happened, and went to go fight in the Mandalorian Wars, and went to track. I can't remember what exactly they were tracking down.
They were tracking. I
A
believe
feeling
of
darkness.
They were.
They sense the Emperor out there. They sense
like Emperor Vitiate.
Yes.
And that's where he was corrupted along with Malik, and that's how Darth Revan was born. And that's led to like a second civil war. And Revan ultimately was captured by Bastila, but not mostly, but sort of also because Malik fired on Revan's ship when so basically to take out his master. But Revan survived, and the Jedi mind wiped him.
From what I understand, he went. I don't think they mind wiped him. They
they basically.
I think he went. What is it called? Amnesia. Jeez,
no, because they did something to
from the Jedi.
Yeah, they did.
Especially when the Jedi killed him,
being Darth Revan.
Okay, so was the holocron supposed to have been made before that happened?
Yeah, when he was Darth Revan. It's when he was.
When he was still Darth Revan.
So I'm gonna add this tidbit in. So as soon as they were, they tracked down the Sith Emperor. He turned them. Through brainwashing. Yay, creative. So he sent them back into the galaxy with a plan to capture essentially the Star Forge and find it and locate it, which is where I believe this is called. Is this Leon or Ratata Prime? I forget which one this planet is in the novel.
Where
they go. Yeah,
it's the unknown planet.
Yes, it's the unknown planet. So the unknown planet you can visit in the game. So essentially, they thought after a time that they came up with their idea to find the Star Forge. So they forgot all about the Sith Emperor, and so Revan made it after this holocron after finding the Star Forge, hid it away in the Cotton Temple, and so that's pretty much that.
Okay, so that was in detail in the game then. Yeah, because I've only read summaries. I've never actually played the game.
Yeah, because the Revan book takes place after his I don't know how a good way to describe it, but the Jedi do alter his memory, so he does not remember being Darth Revan.
Gotcha.
And the book takes place after that because his memories are coming back.
So he essentially gets freed by the Jedi doing that. He forgets everything, and it also removes the influence that the Vitiate really had on him. Right, so he basically it's retrained as a clean slate, and you have the choice in the game what you're going to do, obviously. But in the end, he is redeemed. He defeats his former apprentice Malik and saves the galaxy,
Mhm.
and then goes on. But since he's done all that, the Jedi kind of are very uncomfortable with him still, because he is the guy that slaughtered a bunch of the galaxy before he eventually was redeemed. And he's kind of very weary about the Jedi because he doesn't really trust them. It's really interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I like the way it kind of they talk about him in the past, like he's this great figure. So I love the way that it ties in with that, and also how badass then was the graveyard and the tombs, and I really love that whole Sith lore and the idea that it goes back thousands of years, and they have statues and relics. I just loved that part when in the book.
So yeah, Knights of the Old Republic is 3,156 BBY, as you can see on my timeline here.
Yeah.
Nice plug.
So that's nearly 3,000 years before Darth Bane.
And his mask is Mandalorian because he killed Mandalore during the Mandalorian Wars.
Actually, that's not Mandalore's mask.
Well, I mean, like,
think of Revan as like Kermit the Log. He wears your face.
He hid the mask.
He took the mask from
But he hid it.
Mandalorian after that Mandalorian essentially did win against essentially the other Mandalorians, and he read the mask off like that.
Well, no, that was Mandalore's mask because there was infighting with the Mandalorians because they were trying to find it. So whoever found it would be the next Mandalore.
Yeah, so when
are we talking about the mask in Revan War? Are we talking the mask he hid?
Well, I mixed up the two, but he hid Mandalore's mask. That's also part of the book, and
yes. The one
Mara, are you Mandalore?
What?
Are you Mandalore, Mara? I feel like if push came to shove, you could probably be Mandalore.
I could probably be Mandalore, yeah. I mean,
Wanna
like,
fight me
could be
for it?
female Mandalore. No?
Not on my watch.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, God, please don't hurt me.
No, I won't. But
yeah, it's really interesting how connected they made it to.
So, if you've never read the Revan book, Teresa, I would recommend it because like Revan is right up there with my favorite Sith.
Oh, cool! Because I love this one for sure. All right. Because that was going to be my next question: is if this was in book form? Because
the book, the book like that takes place after the events of the game, sort of. So he's lost his memory, and he's getting flashes of memory that he can't remember what happened, and you just basically follow him. So I don't know if exactly you need to play the game. I don't know if you've done it, but I would recommend reading the book.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And you can read the comics that take place before the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So they're comics too. Okay, yeah. Because this is just a territory that I just was just on the periphery for me, and I'm just starting to discover them.
Another book, I don't know if you've read it, but it's Lost Tribe of the Sith. I think you might enjoy that as well.
Sure.
It's like I don't want to say a different take necessarily, but it does add more elements to the Sith culture because these weren't Sith as we know it, which is basically dark Jedi or Jedi that left the light side. The Sith were actually a species.
Gotcha.
And,
yeah, and along those same lines, wasn't there a comic compliment? We were talking about that, about the bad art, but was the story good? The comic version of this book?
I haven't read it, so I don't know.
I mean, it basically adapts the events from chapter 25, but it does add a little bit more backstory to Rain and her cousins.
Oh, okay, so it's about them. It's not about. It's not like a straight adaptation then.
Oh, well, they have the parts with Bane as well, and the whole thought bomb thing, but they just start from the perspective of Rain, and like it tells a bit more about they came from the other planet and went to Rusan with this other Jedi, and how a character that appears in the next book comes into play a bit more and that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay. Would you say it was decent? that enjoyed this and for other people if they haven't read it?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that it's worth reading, especially alongside the book, because you get a different insight into it from a different perspective.
Oh,
Can I get a quick screen share?
Yeah, I saw that come up.
Oh, come on.
what?
Here's Mandalore.
It's
So what's
mad.
Your baby Yoda.
What's your Mandalore title? Mandalore the Whammon.
Whammon.
No, no.
Mandalore the Voluptuous.
There you go.
Except I don't
So
think
I might
Mara
go
would wear a
like-
mask.
Yeah.
Might
So
have to fight with
I
Shay
might let
Bislett.
my Star Wars RPG character flirt with your character now, Ryan. So
Woohoo! Wow, that's good. I was gonna win her over one way or the other.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's. There we are.
So Matt Wilkins here explains Lost Republic of the Sith is a collection of short stories
Yeah.
that were offered free online by John Jackson Miller, and they're collected in the paperback. So I've got that here now that I'm up here with my shelf.
Yeah, I have the book as well. So yeah, Lost Rebels.
Tell your dad to come in and get it for you, Callum.
So there's a Lost Trouble of the Sith, the collected
Yeah.
stories. With an extra story in there.
So like I said, you know, it's like, you know, the Sith themselves were a species, but like it's become the Dark Jedi that left the Order took that title when they basically interbred with the species. So we know like Sith as the antithesis to the Jedi, but they themselves like Sith is actually a species.
Yeah, that's why initially when those Dark Jedi, 5,000 years ago, those Dark Jedi that happened upon the Sith species, they were known as Dark Lords of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it
It's really
originally came
interesting
from.
because the origins of the Sith were going to be something different, and George said, "No, this is how you got to do it. This is
No,
what
we
you
were
want."
originally going to be the Sith species, but George vetoed that really quick.
The Sith species being corrupted by the Dark Jedi. Yeah. So cool. Right. Good thing Callum was wearing pants today.
Oh,
Kyle, you need to wear pants.
But
more
yeah, it's
often,
interesting between the comic book and the book novel because it actually ends up telling a couple of things in a different order, and there's the artistic interpretation compared to the descriptions in the book as well.
fair enough.
From what I understand, Rule of Two will help smooth over stuff from Jedi versus Sith, that comic book.
Yeah,
But
that's good. And there's all the good stuff. And if you want to know the story of Knights of the Old Republic, I'm going to be playing that sometime on this channel. I'm going to finish
I was
Jedi
going to
Knight.
start that. You Muppet.
If you guys want to know the story, just tune into my channel for about 12 weeks while I do a playthrough at an hour at a time.
See, I
Yeah.
Well, I
Stay
know the
tuned.
summary, but I know the summaries never do quite justice to it.
Yeah.
no, they
Yeah,
usually don't.
this makes me want to play it again. Pretty much.
Hey, I gotta jump off. I only had about an hour.
Wear pants.
Yeah. But, yeah. This was great. Darth Bane
What do you call these?
is the absolute bomb diggity. Honestly, this was so much better than I remember it. In fact, considering the 4 books we've covered, from best to worst,
Which all have battle meditation in them.
which all have battle meditation in it. There you go. I would say this is actually the second best one, only under Heir to the Empire so far. Like this book is just absolutely amazing. If you haven't read it, you got to check this out. And if it's been a while since you read it again. Darth Bane is a monster. Like he is great. He is great. Like we all love the Sith. Jason Solo did nothing wrong. But the Sith. This is like a great book for the Sith. But I do have to jump off. So thank you for having me on, Callum. Ryan,
Final rating before we go.
Nikki, Evan. Always good talking to you, lads. Teresa, you keep my heart warm. Mara, you keep me in line and out of trouble. So They're just as important as each other. And now Mara is Mandalore. I think she like has command over everything, I guess.
Okay.
Pretty
Well,
much.
good night, Lethal.
Night,
Take
Lethal.
care.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining.
I'll talk to
You
you
don't have
later.
your rating out of 10, do you?
Oh, out of 10, I'm going to give it an 8.8. I love it. I love it. Right,
Wyatt,
bye-bye.
that's a weird number. All right, bye.
So,
All right.
cool.
Now that Lethal's gone, we can properly talk about this novel. I'm joking, by the way.
No.
Good one.
We
I've
don't
got
have him
right
just
humor.
flattering Mara all the time.
No one's noticed my shirt yet.
It says.
Well, I couldn't see it because read. What, oh, okay.
Oh,
Right.
I thought it said rear.
My whose rear? My rear? I'm
Anyway,
Anyway,
what did you guys think about Lord Khan? I guess that's
I
another.
think like he was a big part. Well, not like the only part or anything, but like like why the Sith were like the way they were and how they weren't. Like they had lost their way essentially because he was like the way he was described. He always made sure he wore jewels and stuff. He had that narcissistic personality to him where he was more concerned with how he looked. So basically, this
vanity.
sort of the superficialness of it versus actually digging deep in what the Sith should actually be.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, heck, he was losing it literally during the Battle of Rusan.
Mm-hmm.
He was literally going insane.
And that's why I bought the thought bomb idea. It's because he was desperate.
Yeah.
And Bane was like, yeah, I can see he's desperate. Let's just add to it a little bit.
Like Bane played on it. Like like you think that this is like basically just a big Hulk from a mining planet, and he just subverted all the Sith and used everything against them to the point where it's Khan uses the thought bomb out of desperation, and Bane's just sitting back there going, "Yeah, you're all gonna die."
I know. It was beautiful.
Enjoy the apocalypse, a-holes.
It's like you
And he's
do
just
my
like, yeah, I
work
know
for
where
me. Thank you.
Khan's personal comlink is to the fleet. I'm just going to order them to engage for a moment so we can fail utterly.
Yes.
Yeah, what was up with that general just going, well, okay, yeah, we'll do that. It's like, what the hell? How stupid were they?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Were
there
they
was pretty
stupid
much
or
the place
desperate?
was the only one questioning Zahn, and then Khan just went, yeah, we're going to do this, and so they all went along with it.
Yeah. Another thing that we didn't mention is that Bane demonstrated like brilliant tactics when he was in the military because they had gotten that order to take out that outpost.
Oh, yeah, we never even got into that yet.
Yeah, and then like they're given the order and they're ordered to take it out during the day, and Bane's like, well, no, there are gunships. We should wait. It's going to take them this many hours to get there anyway, because they have to get there before the main army takes out the main base. So we can leave at the same time and actually go. But his lieutenant is wants like basically only wants to follow orders, wants Bane to stand down, and Bane just basically decks him.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And and he tells the other troops, it's like I'm going to be court-martialed because I just started a mutiny essentially at this point. So you can have a choice if you want to follow me or not. And I love that moment where they don't say anything, but they do the chess thing, like, we're with you kind of a situation. And then they get to the outpost and that's also another moment where the Force guides him because he's not a sniper, but he's able to take out like all 9 of the troops that are on the wall who could get to the gunships. And and then he hands the rifle back to the one trooper, like the female trooper, and he's like, "Well, fire!" Basically, just start shooting.
Just shoot him.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that sequence. Well, and it showed that he also has natural leadership skills too. It's not just that he's a badass Sith.
Yeah, because they have this device that jams the signals, so the Republic troops can't get any communication to the main base, but then they're blind as well. So he's thinking, well, I don't want, like, the signals for him was supposed to be the blaster, like the sound of the blaster. So as soon as his troops hear the sound of the blaster, they were going to start attacking. And he's like, there are still 3 gunships that could take them out. So how do I make it so that those troopers are taken out who could get to the gunships and at the same time minimize the casualties on his side?
Yeah, it was brilliant, and the way that it was written, the writer is so talented. I mean,
I love it.
I don't know where he's been my whole life, as well as his book. Yeah, because the way he described the battles and all those scenes, it was amazing.
Yeah, Matt was asking, why does Crate not learn from Bane's decision to go back to the rule of 2? And I'm just gonna say
I don't know.
History repeating itself, probably. Like, he thinks he has a better way to do it, so he does that.
That, and I think that he learned from the ancient Sith himself, which was, I'm not gonna say Crate's real name. Crate learned from one of the first Dark Jedi ancient Sith himself. So maybe through that he thinks he has an advantage over the rule of 2.
And it's possible that he saw, well, rule of 2 didn't work because Palpatine's dead.
All it takes to the problem with the rule of 2 is that it's not set up. It's set up for sustainability, but if you're really placing all your odds on, if you take a Jedi apprentice, it's gonna be bad for you because.
And you're also placing all of your odds on the master surviving, because if you kill the master before the apprentice has learned everything, then oof.
Exactly. It's a very risky play.
Especially when, your master decides that maybe that this isn't the right way, and the master decides to reveal themselves to the Jedi, basically.
Exactly.
Darth Bane, anyone? Yeah.
Palpatine was so awesome. And badass.
Well, there's I forget who it was. There's in the lineage of the rule of 2. There was one time where they almost.
Oh yeah, I think Millennial is. No, wait, was it Millennial?
Darth Millennial started his own like cult. I think it's Darth Gravid or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe.
Millennial started the Prophets of the Dark Side.
Yeah, he had 3 eyes.
Yeah. So Evan believes Bane's theory is flawed. I would say it has its flaws. Yes, I'm not going to say it is flawed.
Of course, no
it does have
theory will
flaws.
be perfect either.
No, nothing is perfect.
It's it clearly worked. It did ultimately work to take down the Republic and take down the Jedi for
quite a while.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was almost upset
several times.
Yeah, it was.
You had somebody who didn't somebody tear a hole in the Force, and
I think that was Tenebrae, which was that we learned that in Darth Plagueis, but essentially I think it was Tenebrae who essentially lured the Jedi that the dark side's force could be sensed in the first time in millennia. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was Tenebrae.
Plagueis mentioned that he and Palpatine did it in the book, I think.
It could have been Plagueis
No.
and them, but
No,
memory as well. I could forget
no.
the Bane
After-
Sith.
reading it ages ago.
Well,
Rule of
Without
2,
going
yes or
into
no?
detail,
After that, I guess.
without going into detail with Plagueis, because we're going to be reading that book after the Bane trilogy, but he didn't follow the rule of 2 either.
He didn't want to, that's for sure.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much after Darth Gravid, they sort of stopped following the rule of 2.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Even at the end of the rule of 2, you'll notice that a lot of people started breaking that rule, the tenets of the rule of 2. Even Sidious himself. Sidious was a big breaker of the rule of 2.
Yeah. Well, part of the whole thing about being part of the dark side is by any means possible. So cheating is part of the game. No law says that they have to
issue
follow
with
the
cheating
rules.
to defeat the master was that then you're not actually stronger than the master if you cheat.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, they did, like, in my opinion, the biggest part about the rule of 2 is just not like teaming up to defeat a master who is stronger than you, and that's the only way that you can like defeat them, right? So Matt says Palpatine conquered the galaxy for a long time using the rule of 2. It depends on your definition. Plagueis and Sidious both agreed to train Maul, to train Maul and use him as a weapon for them. I feel like that's break. And like Sidious even took him to Sith planets. He let him call himself Darth. He told him a lot about the Sith. So they were definitely breaking the rule of 2.
Along with Palpatine later on in his own memoirs and writings, after he became Emperor, talking about how he was going to abolish the rule of 2 and set up essentially what would become later his Dark Empire.
Yeah. He wanted to live forever, and Plagueis had that as well, and so they weren't going to follow on with the traditional rule of 2 there.
Yeah.
I love the end of I love the end of Darth Plagueis. I can't wait till we get to it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of that as well. The whole Inquisitorius were trained dark side users, even if they weren't taught everything, so that flexes the rule as well.
It does flex it, indeed. But I'm trying to think. Nah. Let me see here.
Well, would Mara
I think
Jade
I heard
count as
myself.
breaking the rules?
No.
No, because she was never trained as a Sith.
She just trained as a dark
She was
force
taught
user.
things about she was taught things about the Force, but she was never his official apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sidious also broke it with Vergy.
Vergier.
Yeah.
Vergier.
That is so like we don't know. We have no idea about. I feel like we have no idea about their relationship really.
It was mentioned that Sidious did train her as a Sith.
Well, yeah, but that's like one like throwaway line. We have no idea what the extent of their relationship was.
You're right, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong there because it's still mysterious. But generally, you could say that she was. She was also an example of Sidious breaking the rule, if that is indeed true.
Where do we? So, do we? Is there anything other than Vergier herself basically saying that Palpatine?
I think it
trained
was
her. Is there anything else?
It might have been mentioned in the Book of Sith. I could be wrong, but let me check.
I don't remember where it's mentioned.
Force betrayal, and let me see what else. Controversy.
And it's not even really Vergier. It's Lumia telling Jason that Vergier was a Sith.
They all could have been lying.
Yeah.
You're going off of her words, so basically.
You are. Wait, I thought. Hold on. I probably am wrong on here because I haven't read the New Jedi Order, but I thought that Vergier confided in Jason that she was taught by Sidious, or at least had some Sith roots.
No, it's basically Lumia like rephrasing everything that Vergier's ever said and be like, Jason, she was a Sith.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
It's tricky
yeah.
because Vegeta has a lot of lies thrown in with the truths as well.
Right.
A question from Matt is: what Sith would you have featured in a novel, and/or what would you like to have seen in a Darth Zana novel?
Oh, well, I haven't read it, so
Well, I
the
mean,
next
so
book.
basically,
that's tricky.
what this hasn't been featured, so
Yeah, what Sith would you have featured in a novel? I thought would be less spoilery.
Darth Zana, to be quite honest. I want Carbishin to write the next part of that. You know he was ready to.
Yeah.
No, I think he's gone on record saying that if he ever gets the go-ahead, he'll write it.
Yeah.
What I'd do for that though is do a Darth Cognus one.
Yeah,
Then
I would skip over
focus on her more.
Sana and just go right into Cognus, like a story about her.
Because you get sort of the last part of Zana and then go into Cognus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who I would pick.
Who is that talking?
Who's?
I don't know what that is.
It's
That's
Callum.
probably the background of mine because this microphone will pick up everything.
Oh, that's one heck of a microphone.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
strong.
on my laptop.
Matt, you've never read Book of Sith?
I'm surprised Matt hasn't.
No, because here's the thing, Matt. I know you're anti-TCW, but the book has stuff in it that helps smooth things out with that and the rest of continuity, along with adding a lot of insight into other things. So it's definitely a read that you should probably get to.
That reminds me, my brother took my Book of the Sith. I don't have my copy, but I think I'm just gonna just buy another one because
I know you can get it with the thing that lights up and opens up with the tray.
Yeah, I've got that behind me.
So
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna get another one because I have the Path of the Jedi, I have the Bounty Hunter's Code, and I bought the brother who took my Book of Sith book. I got him the Imperial Handbook.
Right.
Ooh, nice.
So because he aspires to be a Grand Moff someday.
That's weird. That's the only one I haven't read.
I briefly
Imperial Handbook came a
through
bit
it,
later.
but as I said, he wants to be a Grand Moff. He's all about the Empire, so I bought him that for Christmas.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, he can go to the Moff Prince then.
Yep.
Cameron says, what about the Dark Jedi Guardian over Mount Tantus? I think that's still in reference to the Rule of Two with that. And I think that's the same as the Inquisitors, so with training them and them putting in places.
So does he mean
and
like
they're not really the official
showing that other than Joris? Like just basically showing.
Yeah, because Joris mentioned he killed the Dark Jedi Guardian at Mount Tantus.
I killed him, Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So.
I killed him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is something interesting as well. This leads into something I noticed. This Guardian Morotar, if I'm pronouncing it right, says, in a way, do you think Karma's pretty much using a very powerful mind trick on everyone and controlling them, kind of like how the Sith Emperor in the Old Republic did?
100%. They even talk about that and kind of go into it, how Bane pretends to kind of fall under his spell, right? And that's kind of one of the reasons that it's one of the things that allows him to have that power over everyone, is that he's puts their mind in a haze almost, so they don't think about anything, they just kind of go along with his plan.
Yeah.
And he is very powerful.
Battle meditation as well.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And along with that, I've noticed an interesting similarity with Vitiate and the Brotherhood of Khan, because they seem to like tricking the Sith into doing rituals to gain power.
Yeah.
The Sith can't can't refuse a ritual. They love them. Especially a thought bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. My only problem with the thought bomb was the name. I was like, really? Like they couldn't have come up with a cooler name than that.
By the way, I'm looking in this to see if it says Vizier's a Sith, because this would be outside of.
I need to do all. I could do all of them, Brian. Just give me some time. I'll get him down. Make sure Lethal does Lando. Lethal's Lando is maybe the worst thing I've ever heard.
What's your
That would be
Githany voice,
perfect. That
Ryan?
would be perfect.
I could do Palpatine.
Like Lethal's Lando it's like a parody of someone trying to goes, "Oh Lord, it's Lando Calrissian." Like it's Mara knows it's so bad.
Oh no.
I just love it when he does it on stream.
He thinks it's okay.
What have we here?
That's a million times better. It has to be a little bit low. You know what I mean? Like it can't be this, baby. Like
It sounds like an Elvis impersonator. Sounds like an Elvis impersonator trying to do a Lando impression.
That's what he sounds like.
We should just
even in here. Okay, I'm reading Vizier's thing, and he says, after the war, and particularly after Jason Solo assumed the title of Darth Caedus, some believe that Vizier might have been one of Darth Sidious's apprentices. So even in here, it's very
vague as fuck. Yeah.
So it's like one of those where it's depends on your interpretation or whether you believe. So,
exactly.
And it was never confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, they're interesting ones. Those pieces of interpretation.
That is actually one thing. That is one thing about Legacy of the Force that I kind of like rolled my eyes at was Lumia's just like talks to Jason for 30 seconds and she's like, "Oh come on, everything she told you was a lie. Who does that sound like?" He's like, "Oh, Vergier's a Sith? Yeah, okay." and that was kind of like that's kind of like the whole basis for like that book series.
All I ask is that I voice Mara Jade. That's all I ask.
Let's hear your best Mara Jade. Is it just your voice?
Well, it would just be my voice. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to like pull out a book and get like some of her dialogue so that I can read.
Yeah, we should just do that one.
So it could be her voice.
Mark Thompson is the definitive voice.
Oh God, Mark Thompson can do female voices.
Jonathan Davis did a brilliant job with the audiobook for this as well, for Half a Distraction.
What, with Githany the Thought? Somebody's got
the one with Githany the Thought.
Callum, what would you do if a thought walked in your room right now?
I'd show everyone.
Oh my God.
No idea.
Would you end the stream?
No, it'd be too entertaining not to end the stream.
Enjoy your next stream ban then.
I'd probably be telling her to rack off. I'm talking about Star Wars sometimes. Oh, someone put who would win in a fight, Palpatine or Vitiate.
Oh God, I mean Vitiate just. I think Vitiate would ultimately win just because of how powerful he was.
See, here's the thing. It's like Vitiate, and the thing is with Vitiate is that I hate to say this, but he is essentially kind of a carbon copy of Sidious to a degree. If you think about it, the refusal to die and spirit transfer, and along with being an emperor, all powerful, it just all.
But how he wiped out the entire population on a planet. I mean, that's pretty powerful.
Sidious could do that too with, I believe it's his Force Storms. But I agree that I feel like Sidious's is more powerful, more refined, where he's not reliant on a group of people to sustain his life. He's more reliant on his own power to do that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, what's going on about the Aussie slang here? Rack off.
Mailborn. If any of you caught the Lethal Lightning stream I did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, all the people in the Brotherhood of Darkness are flaming drongos. Yeah, I think Dark Empire Sidious would probably
Prepare to Foresight in the EU. He could, but only if he was in proximity to, I think, a certain. I think it was.
That was the Kyber crystal, wasn't it?
Was it? Because I know.
Or was it one of the other ones?
He did it in. He might have did it in the Kyber crystal, but I doubt it. I think he did it in. I think one of the Coruscant Night books. I think it was when he had access to, I think Boda or something like that.
It destroys his armor though, so he doesn't use it very often.
Exactly. What's
Well,
Sidious?
So it doesn't really benefit him other than getting it. Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah.
Well, if you believe the Revan fanboys, literally Revan can beat Sidious hands down.
Yeah. No fight, yeah.
He stood no chance against fish yet.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
probably beat
I mean, I love Revan, but he couldn't beat Sidious.
No, he couldn't.
No.
And I've got friends who argue that.
I've got friends.
I do. I know.
What I loved ultimately about Revan is he showed that you could use what would be considered dark side powers, and the powers themselves are not going to corrupt you. It's
Except that they do corrupt him.
well, I mean, if you, the more you use them, but it's not like they themselves are, and it's also the emphasis and the desire and the obsession and things like that. It's basically a culmination of things. So the powers themselves wouldn't corrupt you, because whether or not you liked the Clone Wars series, at one point Ahsoka uses Force Choke on a Trandoshan.
Right.
So the power itself wouldn't corrupt you with how often
and
you
Luke uses Force Choke on the Gamorreans in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't say that's even a dark side power. I think even in the book we read, it's just something manipulating. It's just the.
It's like telekinesis. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really even considered its own. It shouldn't be considered its own thing, as it's more the malicious intent behind it.
Well, that's why I said, the Force. Well, I mean, my personal belief with the Force, kind of going into that topic, is kind of like, for want of a better comparison, like a gun. It really all depends on the user, because the Force itself is not bad.
Right.
Yeah, well, Baby Yoda did put choking, so.
Kyle-Katarn says in the Jedi Academy game.
I haven't watched The Mandalorian, but I have my own issues with Baby Yoda, so we're not going to go into that.
No, talking about Path of Destruction. Kill them all.
Well, we're just talking about Path of Destruction, and we got into talking about Emperor Vitiate and Revan and everything.
Well, Revan was in Path of Destruction, or they mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's similarities to, because I have huge connections to the Old Republic era anyway in this, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Can Jedi use Force Lightning? To actually pull off Force Lightning, you literally have to channel,
there's like a light side kind of version.
Judgment.
Yeah.
What
Force Judgment is different.
Yeah, that's like the light side version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's
but
not true Sith lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And exactly Morotar, and very much like he's saying as well, that was a thing in Dark Empire, that every time he went to a clone body, his body would decay more and more because of the dark side power in him.
It decays. It actually decays. Here's the thing. It doesn't decay more and more because in Crimson Empire, it's shown that his clone bodies were messed with by one of his physicians, or by.
I hadn't read that yet.
Yeah, it was paid for by, I think it was Cardinal Jax, who essentially bribed the physician into essentially tainting his clone bodies.
Taint.
It's still a thing, though, that the dark side power in him corrupted him.
Faster, yes, that is true. But they wouldn't have all degenerate faster because of frequent use.
Yeah.
So what are you rating this book, Cal?
No, I always have trouble with ratings, but yeah.
Well, I'm going to go
really
out on a list. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
You can go if you want to.
Oh, I'm going to go out on a list.
Sir.
Did I call him sir?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Oh. I'm sorry. I come from a place where we use sir and ma'am. Sorry about
Sounds
that.
like that's what I call my dad.
Daughter, are you there?
Oh gosh. Well, I was gonna say, I really thought about this, and I'm gonna give this bad boy a 10. There's not one single page I did not just adore in this book, and I just can't say anything bad about it. I absolutely loved it.
I have to get my rating going here. A second, so
You would have it written down in your notebook, wouldn't you, Evan?
I'm not good. I'm not very good with ratings.
I know
I just don't like to do it because I don't want to take all the time that you have to like come up with this ridiculous standard to hold myself to.
But I feel like as well, when I create my ratings, when I read the next book, I'll have to go, oh, wait, I have to change the rating of the other one because I like this one a little bit more for some reason.
Exactly. And I just can't. Yeah. So this book is incredible. Lethal kind of compared it to the Thrawn series. And so the Thrawn series means so much to all of us. And it means so much for what it did. This book, in my opinion, as a standalone book, it is better than any book in the Thrawn trilogy. To be honest.
Yeah, I was shocked about how much I loved it. I was not expecting it at all. One of those pleasant surprises.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to what I said. Whenever we would criticize anything about the sequel trilogy, and one of the comebacks on the other side was, well, you just don't like it because it's not centered on the Skywalkers. So I'm like, have you seen the EU?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The Republic era is one of the most popular eras in Star Wars.
And there's like no Skywalkers at all. Like the Skywalker name and the EU doesn't pop up, in chronological like time frame until Plagueis.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And thousands of years of like, no Skywalkers.
It's published in 2006. Path of Destruction as well.
Yeah.
So that's a difference in the way the audience receives it and the way things are written compared to 1991 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've finished giving it my rating.
All right. What is it?
It's an 8.6. I feel as though a bit of the it goes down with continuity because it didn't adhere to this very well. Because this came before, and the author could have easily wrote stuff in from this into the novel better. That's all I'm saying. But generally, I think that. Jeez, honestly, it's over here. The plot was good. I think it could have been a little better. Pacing was excellent. Dialogue, again, awesome. Details, I feel like they could have been a little more descriptive, but it's not that bad. So that's where I rate it. It's definitely up there. It's just not as high, I don't think, as the Thrawn trilogy. I might have to reevaluate the Thrawn trilogy.
I was looking at Jedi.
Like your stupid ass fucking rating, or sorry, your stupid ratings.
Actually, no. You know what happens? It's essentially on the level of Heir to the Empire for me. So an 8.6. So it's that as well. Stupid ass rating, Ryan.
Yeah.
I know. I overcomplicate things.
Yeah. It's all right.
It better be all right.
You don't have much choice, so I can just beat you from the stream. Yeah.
You have free will, my son.
Yeah. And you actually finished the book before the stream. Large marathon.
I've been doing that lately. I think ever since Dark Force Rising. So
yeah, I missed the Last Command one.
Last Command, I got it all done.
Cool.
True, but in all fairness, yes, but the problem is you have points in that comic that don't add up with the novel, and such as
like a sailing ship flying through the air.
We're not talking about artistic style. I'm talking about how Githany is like not in the same place as she was there when the Thought Bomb was going off. We have really no mention of Davarit. We don't, just stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think if there was
in the next book as well,
right,
yeah, it is.
And maybe that will change, but as a standalone, I've got to rate the book as a standalone thing. So where do I rate that? I'd have to rank it lower in continuity because of that. And I don't think that it's that bad, but it just has a little bit of some flaws.
A couple of minor things, yeah. And then you look at Jedi Prince for continuity. Yay.
Where is Darkness Shared? I forget what that
That's a short story.
Really? I know it is.
Well, you asked what it is.
I was talking to myself. I'm just seeing like what it okay, it takes
We're all listening to you.
Yeah.
Oh, jeepers. Well, can we take a moment to appreciate that now from here on to eternity, when I hear thought bomb, I'm going to think pot bomb as in...
You're welcome.
It's ruined forever for me. I'll never be able to think of it differently.
Well, you can't, really.
I mean, it is a thought bomb. It got rid of Githany.
Yep.
And all the other thoughts.
Lord Hoth is a Jedi thought. No.
Wait, he wasn't. Who was he sleeping with?
Farfalla is the Jedi thought.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh well, there's nothing wrong. Not there's anything wrong with that.
It was implied that Githany was sleeping with Chani before the Jedi.
No, let me see. No, she was.
Well, yeah, she was. They were lovers, but she wasn't sleeping with Hoth.
No, it was Chani, whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So it's not like, so Hoth is still thoughtless.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like thought, or I feel like Hoth has like a well, I won't say that on camera straight.
He's too cold-hearted, apparently.
She couldn't handle him.
I hate how they made. What is this half Bothan? No offense, it's just weird. Is that weird to you guys? It just.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's the other half?
Yeah, that's the question.
Human.
Wait, human?
Okay, that is weird. Like look at the
exactly.
It's like bestiality. I'm sorry.
I was about ready to say, oh my god.
What are you talking about? Gavin
Dark dog.
Gavin and Asa, but they never had children, because species deviation should not allow that.
So I can handle the Dathomirian Zabraks and just Dathomirians as a species because
you're one of those bigots that didn't want Gavin to be with a Bothan.
No, it's not
Admit
that.
it, Evan.
No, the problem is that how do these species interbreed?
Yeah.
One's a
They shouldn't be
furry.
able to.
One is a furry Bothan who has bipedal legs and is very alien that it has a head of almost a camel.
Oh my gosh.
And you have a human. How?
Oh, I don't
I mean,
care how
they're
much
pretty-
I love
The dark
someone.
side
I'm
of
not.
the dark
Yeah, that's
side
just not
those are
going to
pretty
happen.
extreme genetically.
Unnatural.
Yeah.
You just have to shave a little part and you'll be all right.
Oh no!
No.
Okay, next question. If you guys had served under any of the Jedi laws, who would you want to serve? Me personally go with Hoth.
Well, yeah, you took the best one.
Yeah.
I have to look at a list of like all the Jedi Lords, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd want to serve under Hoth too, so I could go fight in the Army of Light with him. Well, yeah, I'd like that.
I like Farfalla because he drinks wine before he enters battle.
I feel like if I served under Valentine Farfalla, he might touch me.
God damn.
Now, are you talking about just in this book or any
Yeah.
Jedi Master? Or just in this
I
book?
think was in the Jedi Lords that means more in this book and the comic probably.
Well,
Oh.
in that era, Jedi Lords had a very specific meaning. It was like a lot of times, like Jedi would go and basically like take control of a sector, kind of, and kind of govern it in a way.
And essentially,
Yeah, no, the
Kind of
Jedi
like a
Supreme
lord, like in
Council
the
as
British sense,
Yeah.
in the British Empire.
Yes.
what it would essentially equate to would be a high Jedi general during the Clone Wars era. So someone who commanded literally armies of a sector, and you can even liken it to Grand Moffs to a degree.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. I have to really think about that. But wasn't there a point when a Jedi was actually what's the title, head of the Republic?
Yeah. You're right.
Yep. She was Grand
Supreme
Master.
Chancellor.
Yeah,
Chancellor.
Chancellor. Reformation for a while.
She was Grand Master and Chancellor at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's never a good idea. Yeah. To mix them up. Not at all. So, how uncool is it that Hoth is this cool, this great general, and they named the coldest planet in the galaxy after him?
Because he saved, so he actually basically got pirates out of that sector or something like that. That's where he like tracked him down and defeated him. So that they called him the something Lord of Hoth, which ended up just being Lord Hoth. Got shortened to that. His real name's something else.
Oh, okay. Wait, was that in the book? Did I miss that?
No, this is all
No,
it's all like background information.
Probably in the
He was
comics.
born Roland.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, because I was just about ready to say, it's like, why the hell would you choose that particular planet and go, wow, that great general, let's name him that ball of ice after him, Okay.
Yeah,
well,
he was named after the ball of ice.
Well, we did talk about him being an incel. Oh no, it was the other guy who was. Never mind. I can't keep track of the incels in Star Wars. There's so many of them.
Well, they did have the no attachments rule afterwards.
Yeah.
During
Which
that time.
apparently everybody broke.
No, well,
Yeah, definitely.
the thing is, it's no attachments, but it doesn't say you can't be. You have to be celibate.
Yeah, look at Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah,
That's exactly why you get a Githyanisi.
Yeah,
I'm very say. So they're saying it's okay to have a hoe.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So in specific things like Kiadi Mundi, since his species there are not very many males, and all the males mate with like 10 females. They get like 10 wives. The Jedi Order allowed him. Yeah, I know. Imagine 10 people nagging you. So he was allowed by the Jedi Order to go and take wives and to procreate with them to advance the race.
Yeah, like he was.
Go take your 10 chicks and have a good time. And then
he was the exception, but yeah, they don't say you have to be celibate.
You think his forehead was big?
Oh my gosh, no.
If you want to know more, read this story, which is
Prelude to Rebellion.
Yeah.
So literally him trying to save his kids, and I think two of his wives. That could be.
Does he ride a spider or something in one of those books?
Yeah, Itachi and Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon and Tal.
Yeah, I mean, all of them. That's what I was thinking of, because in the books, I remember, Qui-Gon had a chick. So hypothetically, then, nobody had a problem with Anakin screwing Padme all the time.
No, that's why Obi-Wan always turned the blind eye to it. Essentially,
yeah, there was actually a deleted scene or something. I think it was in the novelization where Obi-Wan basically reveals that he knew the entire time.
Yeah, it's actually gone into detail in Your Dark Rendezvous. I think that he suspects in that, but he doesn't. But all he says is do not form attachments.
But he loves Anakin so much that he's willing to turn a blind eye to it, because all he wanted was basically for Anakin.
And that was his attachment to Anakin.
And if you get into TCW, which I don't really like, in some of the I think Wild Space or
some of the novels there.
Yeah, some of the novels. One of the novelizations.
No prisoners.
Is that it? Maybe no prisoners. So it starts off.
Wait. It's the Siege novels. I think is. I think.
I don't know whatever the hell stupid Clone Wars thing it is, but the one I'm thinking of, the book starts off immediately after the Battle of Geonosis, where Anakin has been injured, Obi-Wan has been injured. They're heading back to the temple.
That's Wild Space.
Wild Space. I was right.
Yeah. Sorry.
So it starts off right there, and Padme is going crazy trying to get to Anakin, and it's clear how much she cares about him. And Obi-Wan is forceful with her and tells her to stop, and that he knows what's going on. He understands the relationship that they have and how close they are, and he realizes how bad it could be for Anakin. And so he basically tells Padme to F off, and
pretty much.
that she cannot they cannot continue what's going on. And she says okay, and then they pick up several months later, months into the Clone Wars, where they are sneaking around behind Obi-Wan's back. He thinks everything's done with, but he knows that relationship was there, and that's why he thinks Anakin's acting weird all the time, is because he still has feelings for her, but he's trying to move past it and stuff. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, prisoners, because that introduces Jedi Master Jyn Altus, who
actually I think Altus was originally introduced. Well, he's mentioned in the Children of the Jedi novel.
He's mentioned, but you actually see him in No Prisoners, and you get this basically flat out how Luke's Jedi Order is post Return of the Jedi. Altus is kind of the predecessor to that, where he allows attachments. He allows masters to take more than one apprentice, Padawans, you call them, things like that. And he's introduced in No Prisoners, and that's where the author goes into when Ahsoka is talking and saying that, yes, the Jedi don't allow attachments, but because because we have to make new Jedi, they allow us to have bunch of side pieces throughout the galaxy.
That just seems so contradictory.
Yeah. So it's for me, it's one of the reasons I love the Old Republic is that because it's not the attachment itself that's the problem, and that's what the Jedi, where I fault the Jedi. It's the emphasis you place on the attachments, which is part of the reason why Anakin fell to the dark side, and that's because he was so afraid of losing Padme.
Mm-hmm.
That part of it was the problem, not that he and Padme were together.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, yeah, he was definitely inordinately attached to her, because everyone loves their wives, but no one goes out necessarily and slaughters a whole bunch of people because they think they might keep them from dying in childbirth. I mean, that's just weird.
Yeah. So, yeah. But that's where you see not like Altus really. I don't want to say had a major influence on Anakin, but that you definitely see a little bit because they interact, and Anakin is seeing what Altus allows his students to do, and that basically it's like it's basically WTF? Why can't I be with Padme?
Exactly. But Obi-Wan never knew that they were.
Can't be public with it when it's like, well, we allowed exceptions for all these other people.
Yeah. Like Kiadi Mundi. It's like, you need to procreate your species. Well, so what? The humans need to procreate too. Why can't you let me be with Padme?
Yeah.
So
but Obi-Wan never suspected they were married, though, if I'm correct.
I don't think he suspected that they were married, but he definitely knew that they were together.
Yeah, well, yeah, because of course when he saw she was pregnant, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's Anakin's."
Yeah, but even before then, he had feeling, he knew because
he's spending a lot of holiday time with her.
Yeah. A lot of holiday time with the senator. So it's like,
Anakin, you smell like a Naboo whore.
Oh no.
Neil Valentine says this was the first EU book he read. I used to just stick with the games. I hear the second book isn't as good. I forget exactly how I rank them separately, but it's hard to top the events that are told in Path of Destruction.
Yeah, this book is so good. Yeah, this book is so good. The second one is not as good. The third one is fine. The third one's it's better than fine. It's a very solid ending. But the second book was rushed a little bit because of some other canceled books. So
it replaced Darth Plagueis in the lineup.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Plagueis wouldn't see the light of day until 3 years later. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. Plagueis is one of the light EU books. So yeah, cool. Well, I guess to go around, is there anything else you want to say about Path of Destruction?
No, it's freaking awesome.
It is really good.
As I said, it's just a solid 10 for me.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 9.5. It's right up there with minor nitpicks, but it is just I don't know if I can reiterate it as often that too much that it just shows it. You don't have to have the Skywalker name in the book.
Exactly.
You fall in love with the characters. And it's this is the Sith, so technically you're supposed to be rooting against them, but you're rooting for Bane the entire time.
Yeah. And I love how it brings you into that mindset. It doesn't rush you into it like, I know he's killing people, but no, you're actually going through his life and the build up into understanding how he thinks the way he thinks and that Sith mindset.
And even he himself fails, and that's how he learns.
Yes. You see, that's why he's not a married. Arse handed to him several times in this.
Yeah.
Or Gary's too, I should say.
Sirac was the big one.
Oh yeah.
So when you think of Zabra, oh gosh, what's his name?
Sirac.
Sirac. So what are you picturing he looks like? Are we picturing
I kind of picture that episode where the Night Sisters are having the Night Brothers go through.
All right.
Or when they're fucking.
So you're thinking Dathomir and Zabrax.
Yeah. That's what I picture. That's kind of what I picture based on his skin color.
Because was it yellow or orange?
A yellow.
Sorry to hear that, but it's good that you can relate to characters.
Damn.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah.
But that's what I picture just based on how his skin color is described.
Right.
And I was thinking... Oh, I think I was thinking one of his lackeys would have been one of the brown skinned Zabraks, and he would be sort of a different variation of that.
Iridonians?
Red or something?
Yeah, well, Maul was red.
Yeah. Well,
and then he had the tattoos on him, so it's like, I was just like...
No, the red is his actual skin color. The tattoos
the tattoos are the black parts. So it's like, yeah.
Well, his Blackie's
Probably
now. I got the
something
book here.
Because you get your
Red
Zabraks that
skin,
are the brown ones.
Loka and Yevra, so they were both red skins.
No.
And Sirach was a pale yellow.
Gross.
No, there you go, pale yellow.
Mhm.
In before Savage Press,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I picture the Savage Press color, like the Dathomiri Zabrak.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah,
And obviously, him having a double-bladed lightsaber would have been a reference to Darth Maul.
Mhm.
Probably. There were so many references in it, like back to the Old Republic and that. It's cool. But yeah, cool. I think that about sums it up anyway at the moment. Unless you got anything more to add.
No, I think it's covered without going into every detail of the book. Pretty much, it's a great start to a trilogy.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait for the next one. Is Rule of Two. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm gonna start it tonight. I've got it ready to go.
I'm probably gonna pass out and then start it tomorrow because it's 11:38 my time. So I'm really gonna
yeah, fun times. Yeah.
Yep.
So, cool. I'll leave it there, and thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll see you in the next one. Whether it's seeing you in a video or on a next book club stream or wherever. It's good. Do you want to plug channels?
I'll plug mine. I've made some content recently.
There's a plug right there.
And streaming, yeah.
I mean, I have been streaming. Right now, I've been able to since my thing ran out, and you get some money together to continue that.
What?
My
Such a good plug.
That was random.
It will.
Subscribe to my channel. Once I get enough money, I'll keep streaming.
No. The problem is, I need to get money for the software. That's the problem. I was running it in trial mode, so that's why.
Okay. Are you? All right. What software?
I'm using currently Affinity Publisher, so that's what I'm using. It's like a single-use license, unlike freaking Adobe lately, where it's.
Oh, you're talking about editing software?
Yeah, I'm talking about for my book I'm working on. I've got editing software.
Evan, you could just make a video that's not about you making a book.
I know. I'm going to. This gave me a good video idea tonight, which is I might do one on the Sassari and who's.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea.
Do not steal it, Ryan. Do not steal it, Cal.
Next year.
I'm gonna put mine out tomorrow.
Ryan, I swear to Christ.
I'll give you a month.
How about you give me 2 weeks?
Okay. That's less than I told you. Quite a bargain for me.
Yeah,
exactly. I need to be against the clock somehow. So
someone needs to teach you how to bargain, Evan.
Yeah, very.
I get done. Okay, give me a week.
I made no such promise. So I'm going to make the video tomorrow, and I'm going to steal every single one of your ideas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh God,
you got to get it in before Ryan. There you go.
Yeah. Well,
Ryan starts with a month. Ryan starts with a month, and Evan has him down to a week.
Drive a hard bargain, sir.
2 months. I'm joking. No.
The next stream will probably be February. It'll probably be February 1st.
Oh yeah, second my time, but first your time. Yeah.
Unless I get videos out, and then it'll be on my channel. But let me see here. February 1st, you said. Yeah. Okay, I can get that done.
Oh yeah,
done by then. Literally only takes me 2 nights to listen to an audiobook and read it.
Yeah, mine's already done. I've already read it.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, you guys can check me out, Ryan Kennel, RK Outpost. I talk about Star Wars and other things. And you can also catch me on Geeks and Gamers and Sports Wars.
I saw. Were you in charge of the channel tonight, Ryan?
Yeah, I was running the stream today. Jeremy's out of town. He wasn't able to join, but he really wanted the stream to go down, so we ran it.
A really good stream. Yep.
Cool.
I saw Dash was on. Dash isn't part of Geeks and Gamers, is he?
No.
And links to Evan and Ryan's and Lethal's channels are in the description.
I assume he got on because he was an Australian.
That is one of the reasons we reached out to him. Yeah.
we need to, can we get him on this on the book club at some point?
Maybe.
Alaska. Maybe.
Yeah.
We ought to have a group chat with him, aren't we?
Yeah. No.
Well, I'm Teresa Martin. I'm easy to remember. Yeah. I have cats videos, and actually I just have anything I care about, which is bedtime reading is my latest thing.
Cool. Reading Darth Bane, Path of Distraction.
Oh yeah, there's lovely bed. You know what? I probably should make that part of the bedtime reading. Why not? Yeah, that and travel and
guys.
What?
I'm one subscriber away to 80. So I know it's not a lot, but I'm one sub away from hitting 80 subs.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Let's get somebody sub to Evan out there. Somebody subbed Evan.
Everyone unsub. No.
How many people are watching right now?
14 currently.
Oh, come on. There's got to be one person out there that's not subbed.
I know,
Evan.
right? I'm very knowledgeable.
Evan is only 1,921 subs away from 2,000 guys. Let's get him there.
Yes. I'm 23 from 200. So
my goal for what my goal was for the end of the year? What did I say? Like 150 subs was my goal for this year.
2019 or this year?
This year, 2020. So by the end of 2020, I hope to be past 150.
Wow, way to sell yourself short.
Neo Valentine. One of my wonderful patrons, Neo Valentine, right there.
Thank you. I will write this down. You get preferential treatment with me, Neo.
Wow. Yeah, just if you're one of the 79 that subscribed before, go F yourself. Should have been number 80. All you people that have been with me for so long.
You're at 80 already, so you don't need to
here's the thing. If anyone comments on any of my videos, I'm gonna be real. If anyone comments on my videos asking me a question, I will answer that question. As long as it's Star Wars related, not personal.
Okay, I was gonna say.
And it's not.
Yeah, so we want to ask you about your. Never mind. Social security number.
That's all oh, don't you dare, Brian.
I will try if I can. To answer questions that get asked, but.
I mean, of course, I'm gonna ignore. The problem is, I ignore people who just love to criticize, though.
What if it's constructive?
Constructive criticism, I'll answer. I've got receipts.
I won't.
For that.
Screw it.
I will. Wow.
I don't, because my life is busy enough. I get enough of that in my real life and my job. And if someone wants to criticize my cats or how I film Cork City and statues, and screw them.
I mean, I plan on going into graphic design, so the thing is, I gotta take constructive criticism one way or another.
No, you say my way or the highway.
That'll get you far.
Yeah, real far, Ryan. I'm joking. Says talking to the person who has more subs than me and Cal combined.
Are you talking about Mara?
Yeah, her too.
All right. On that note, since I was brought up. I finally started uploading videos on my channel. If you follow me on Twitter, I have the link to my channel in my bio. So it's Jade Shadow on YouTube, and I did start talking about Star Wars, and I will keep talking about Star Wars, but I generally cover.
Yeah,
I generally cover a mix of pop culture because I also love DC. I also I love the Witcher season that's on Netflix and things like that. So generally, pop culture geek stuff related is going to be my channel from now until whenever.
Cool. Done. And I'll put your link in the
Nice.
comments because I found it.
Go sub, everyone.
Hooray.
So yeah,
Sub early and often.
Yep.
Well, this is on my channel. I've done all Star Wars Expanded Universe stuff so far, but I'm gonna be doing a stream on the 28th, the 29th of February, my time. January, not February. Just going through about what changes I'm gonna make in that because I'm gonna keep the Star Wars EU stuff as more the regular content, but then also probably do some other gaming streams and stuff, which would be awesome.
Very nice.
All the good stuff. So yeah.
Star Wars related.
That
What
was-
would happen if Disney has characters visit the mythical Earth where all things came? Huh?
Anyway.
What?
They would have no power here.
They would not. You're governed by our
Alright.
laws here.
Good
Alright.
stream.
Yeah.
And I'll see all you guys in the next one. It'll be great.
All right.
Uru.
Uru.
Uru. Night, everyone.
Good night.